Hi, this is Lucia with The Art of Love. This week I'd like to tell you about a date that I was recently on. And the reason that I want to tell you is because people often forget what the purpose of dating is. And it is to find out if you are compatible. It's not just to find out if you have chemistry, because you could have chemistry and not be compatible. However, if you bypass the fact that you're not compatible, that's when the problems start, and that's when I get the emails saying, I'm having a problem. So you can't just go on chemistry. So let's start with the first thing that I saw that was going to be an incompatibility. He asked me if I was into dive bars, and I said no. And he was visibly disappointed. So there's an incompatibility right there, because I'm more of a five-star restaurant, club, hotel type of girl. So if he's into dive bars, that's polar opposites, and that would clearly not work. The second thing was that he said that he no longer spoke to his mother. They had a falling out. So to me, family is important. And I prefer someone who has a great relationship with their parents. And if they don't, especially if a man isn't speaking to his mother or if a woman isn't speaking to their father, then usually they're going to end up having problems in their personal romantic relationships. So that's something that you have to look out for. Afterwards, I received a text, and the phone was in my purse off the table. And he heard the sound. I heard the sound, obviously, and he looked at me and kind of half jokingly he said, "Don't do it," meaning don't answer the text. And I thought, whoa. Like, who are you? I just met you an hour ago and you're telling me not to check my text and not to answer it? Wow. So I thought that was really out of line. And in fact, I did check it, but it wasn't important, so I didn't answer it. And he said that he usually leaves his phone in the car. So again, we have another huge incompatibility, polar opposites. He wants to leave his phone in the car. I want to have my phone nearby and check it and see what's going on. And so that could lead to problems down the road. But interestingly enough, a little bit after that, all of a sudden he started staring off into space. He mentally left the date. And it was for a long enough period of time that I noticed. And so I find that interesting, because he didn't want me to check my text, because that would have meant that I would have taken my attention away from the date. But that's exactly what he then proceeded to do by staring off into space. And I've never had that on a date, where it's the first date, you're supposed to be talking and trying to impress the other person, and all of a sudden they mentally take off. So it means that something that he probably did even without thinking, which means he probably does it a lot. And so that was just something for me to notice. And then the final thing was at the end of the date, when we were waiting for my car, he started walking off in the other direction before my car got there. I mean, he came back. He walked about 8-10 feet, and then he came back. And again, that's interesting. Like, why are you walking away? We're here on a date. You're supposed to be trying to impress me. We want to get to know each other. And you just decide to walk away. Body language. So instead of worrying about, oh, do they like me? I hope they like me. I hope we go out again. I think he's really cute. I think she's really hot. You need to be listening to what people say and looking at their actions. And it's usually subtle things like this that later down the road you recall and you go, oh, yeah, I remember now, he did that on the first date. He did this on the first date. Because if something is a red flag, or even a yellow flag or an orange flag, it's not going to hit you over the head. There's very few blatant red flags. Obviously, if someone, loses their temper, or they're very rude to the wait staff, etc. Yes, of course, those are obvious. Everyone knows those. But it's the other ones, it's the yellow flags, it's the orange flags that you have to be on the lookout for, because if you add up enough of them, they do eventually turn into a red flag. So he wanted to go out again, and I said no. However, had my interest been high enough, because it's all about interest level if you've been listening to me long enough, I would have agreed to go out with him again, but I would have mentioned the whole text message issue, because I don't want to be out with someone and then worrying about, do I have to sneak a peek at my phone to see if anybody called or to see if there's a text? Do I have to go into the bathroom to use it? It's like, I'm not going to do that. I want to be free, and I am going to be free, and I will be free to look at my phone and answer it in text whenever I want. Of course, I'm not going to abuse that, but I don't want to feel as if I can't ever do that. And so I would tell him about that and see if he had a problem with that. If it was going to be a problem, then we probably wouldn't see each other. But my interest wasn't high enough, and therefore I didn't. It was just too many incompatibilities that I thought, no, it's just not worth it. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, or you are interested in private coaching with me, you can contact me at my website, theartoflove.net, and be sure to use the contact form on that page. Please do not email me directly, as your email may go into the spam folder and I will not see it. If you are listening to this on iTunes, I would appreciate if you would read and rate the podcast. And finally, remember that love inspires, empowers, uplifts, and enlightens.